Hey guys, in this video, we're going to take a look at a senator here in the Philippines who is pushing to open up the Philippines to vaccinated tourists. Stick around. Okay, guys, so a couple of news things today. This came out a few days ago, actually, but there is a senator here in the Philippines who is pushing to get the Philippines to open up to vaccinated tourists. Now, I have said this before, and I'll say it again. Likely, if you are somebody who doesn't want the vaccine, and I'm not saying yes or no either way on what you believe, but put that aside, it really doesn't matter. At probably the first thing that's going to happen is the Philippines will open to vaccinated tourists. That's just the way it's going to be. Now, when that will happen, I don't know. Will they let unvaccinated tourists in at some point? Again, we don't know at this point. We'll have to wait and see. But I did think it was kind of interesting that the senator is making a push, and he does seem to be getting a little bit of support. Let's see if that support continues, and let's see what happens in the future. But let's go ahead and take a look at that video clip here.
The government is aiming to bounce back by reopening more businesses and to further help the economy. And one lawmaker proposes to allow fully vaccinated tourists to enter the country. Joining us now is the House Deputy Speaker, Mikey Romero. Congressman Romero, thank you so much for joining us. Is this plan feasible, and how soon can this become a reality?
I think it's very feasible. We have to reopen our economy somewhere. We have to move even an inch, no? So ang pinopropose ko is to make international bubbles. Hindi naman yung NCR, but rather the places like Siargao, Boracay, Cebu, yung mga hindi heavily hit by the COVID, or it hits, but pero hindi yung concentration na nandun. So if we make international bubbles there's already 1 billion out there potential market that has taken vaccination two times, no? So they're fully free from any COVID. No?
Right.
So I would like to tap them. I'm a
So I want to stop it there for a second. And interestingly enough, I don't know if you caught it, but he did say bubble tourism. So what he's meaning is certain areas of the Philippines like Cebu, Boracay, possibly Palawan, Bohol, and Siargao. And so he's not talking about opening up the entire Philippines to everybody, only those vaccinated who've had both shots, and also those who would like to come over and just go to certain areas. And we don't know what protocols would follow. But I find it interesting that, again, if you're thinking, hey, I'm going to go visit my girlfriend in Leyte, that might not be a possibility. But could she come and meet you in Cebu or Boracay? That's a possibility. So let's continue to watch the rest of the video.
Aggressive type of a congressman. I like the economy to progress, no? Kahit in bits and pieces, by inches. We have to do something. Hindi katulad ganito, frozen ang economy natin. If you take a look at what happened last year, we have the worst economy since 1947, minus 9.4% on GDP natin. So
Mikey,
if we do the same thing over and over again, ganun pa rin tayo. We will suffer the worst economy.
Mikey, you mentioned that there are about 1 billion people who already have been fully vaccinated. For them to enter the Philippines or to be able to enter this international bubble, are there certain brands that they should have been vaccinated with, like Sinovac, Sinopharm, or AstraZeneca, Moderna, or Johnson & Johnson? Is there a particular brand?
Rico, I'm just starting a movement of reopening the economy. With regards to brand, I think that's the DOH na yan kung anong mag-ano. But ang sa akin, if they're vaccinated twice, then...
So I want to stop it there again. So there, interestingly enough, he doesn't know. He said he would leave it up to the Department of Health to decide which vaccine would be acceptable or not, whether they would accept the vaccine from China or if it would be the one from the UK, AstraZeneca, or Johnson & Johnson, or Pfizer, or whatever. So we don't know yet. This is a movement that's just kind of starting. Let's continue to watch the video.
They can enter the Philippines. Pero syempre, they have to take a 48-hour PCR before and after the entry, no? So nandun pa rin yung health protocols, and DOH and DOT has to do it. But we need to open the economy to that 1 billion potential tourists, no? See, President Biden already said that July 4th, the whole of America will be COVID-free or have vaccinated at least 80%. There are potential market. All we need is 100,000 a month tourists, and we have billions already of income coming in. So yun lang sa akin.
So, Congressman, you're trying to start a movement, but what has been the reaction so far of the government to your idea?
I think the Department of Tourism Secretary and DTI Secretary are very much open to this. No? In fact, they called on my attention. Ang sabi nila, well, at least there's somebody championing us from the legislative side. No?
So let's go ahead and pause again. So he's saying right now that he does have some people listening to him and that are open to the idea from the Department of Tourism and another department. I didn't quite catch that. So the thing is will other senators, will other government officials jump on board? I know, like here in Cebu, Governor Garcia is all aboard. The mayor of Lapu-Lapu wants to open up as well. So let's see what happens. Let's see if there gets enough traction here to go ahead and do that. Now, Thailand, of course, has done this, and they were partially successful. They weren't fully successful. But it was starting to go, and now things have kind of shut down again in Thailand. Not because of vaccinated tourists and other tourists coming in. Their spike in cases has nothing to do with that. So let's see what happens with the Philippines. Let's finish up the video here.
We're trying to just move the economy, no? And hindi siya maging frozen economy.
That's
Yun
right.
lang naman ang for me.
That's true. I mean, even just a fraction of those billion people who already been vaccinated will definitely jumpstart the tourism sector, which has really been struggling, no, and suffering during the past year due to this pandemic.
Second, Rico, the investor confidence in the Philippines, like the foreign direct investments as well as our stock market, has been down. Down because wala nang confidence sa Philippines because there's no activity. So by restarting or reviving the economy, these investors, FDIs or stock market investors, might take a look at the Philippines again and might put their money again, you know. We have to do something. We have to progress.
House Deputy Speaker, Representative Mikey Romero, thank you so much for joining us on The Final Word.
Okay, so there you have it. So we at least have a champion who is fighting towards opening the Philippines to vaccinated tourists. Again, if you're not going to take the vaccine, then of course, who knows when you'll be let back in. It's hard to say. It's hard to say if this will even take off and get momentum. It does seem to be getting some other people jumping on board. And again, here in Cebu, the Governor Garcia is really on board for getting things open again. But it's going to take a lot more than just a couple of people in higher positions here in the Philippines to get things going. So let's wait and see. Let's keep watching the news and keep our fingers crossed. And hopefully the Philippines will be opening soon. One other piece of news I wanted to share with you. I thought this was pretty big news and very surprised, and the people in Australia probably not real thrilled about it either. But let's take a look at one last piece of news here. And so that piece of news here is actually that travel and tourism during COVID-19, this is for Australia. Australia is likely to remain shut to visitors until late 2022, the country's trade and tourism minister said Friday, as another global coronavirus surge smashed hopes of a quick reopening. I will include the link to the article down in the description, guys. If you guys have any questions or comments, let me know. What do you think of this movement going on? What do you think? Do you think this the House Speaker is, or I think he's a Deputy House Speaker, do you think he's correct in getting vaccinated tourists back into the Philippines? And again, he does want to do that through bubble tourism. He doesn't want to open up the entire Philippines. He just wants to open places like, high tourist areas like Boracay, Palawan, Surigao, Cebu, Bohol, places like that. Questions, comments, comment down below. Let's have that conversation. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hit the thumbs up if you like this video. Consider sharing it. That does help out a lot. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already done so. Hit that bell notification. That will keep you updated every time I come out with a new video. Thank you so much. See you guys next time. Bye.
Come on. take it real soon.